the story of the starfish flinger, it's kind of you've probably seen it places. It's really, there's a young boy walking up and down the beach and sees these starfish that have washed up on the beach, and he starts flinging them out into the ocean. And at that point, a older, wiser man, probably somebody like me, comes up to the little boy and says, "Son, what are you doing?" And the little boy says, "Well, sir, the starfish are on the beach. The sun's out. They're gonna dry out and die if I don't get them back out into the water." So the older man says, "Son, now look down the north side of this beach. Now look this way down the beach. There are starfish as far as you can see. Now, how in the world do you think you can make a difference?" And with that, the boy picked up a starfish, took a good look at it, flung it out into the water, and he says, "Well, sir, I guess I made a difference to that one." Hi, I'm Jimmy Kirchdorfer, a lifelong Kentuckian and chairman and CEO of ISCO Industries. I was born in Louisville, and two great parents that loved us. I had a younger brother, older sister, and it was a great way of growing up. My dad was from Louisville. My mom was from southern Indiana, and they met and ended up building a house and living in Louisville. And she was very supportive of all three of us, and a great mother. My dad was traveling, working a lot of late hours. She was a great partner to him, and allowed them to create the kind of family they wanted. Yeah, my parents, I saw the kind of stewardship and commitment they did. My dad was athletic director at our school to help. He did a lot. I remember him building backboards and for basketball in our cafeteria at school so we could play. So I just saw that commitment, that you need to volunteer, you need to be involved in what they did, and allowed us to participate in those. And we went to a pretty small grade school, and ended up being a big part of my life and brought me closer to my parents as they would come to games. And my dad did a great job. He traveled a lot and worked hard, but looking back, he did everything he could to be at those games and to support us. You don't realize at the time, but looking back, I really appreciate that. My first entrepreneurial venture was cutting grass. And I remember creating little business cards, probably out of paper at the time, and talking to my dad about what should the name of of my little company be. And he says, "Well, you can either name it about yourself, put your name in there, Kirchdorfer Grass Cutting, or you can name it about the service you're doing." So I remember that lesson. I remember also saying, on my business card, it said, "Good quality with cheap prices." And he came to me and says, "Let me give you a little bit of advice. Why don't you say reasonable prices?" I was like, "Well, that's good advice." He said, "No, what's anything cheap?" So it was a great business that was started and going around and cutting grass. I remember struggling on how to price it. Like, oh my gosh, she asked me for a price and I don't know what to say, and kind of fretting about even how to price things. But anyway, at the end, it ended up being a pretty fun, successful business. And then my brother was 4 years younger than me, so who I work with now. We have a great relationship and have a great partnership. But he kind of looked up and was like, "Man, that's kind of cool. I want to cut grass." And I would go sell the jobs, and maybe I'd sell for $4 and I could pay him $1. And he was thrilled with the whole thing, and he was just happy. I joke about it's amazing how hard he would work all day for $1. I think he liked being part of it. So it was pretty good. I learned how to scale it when I got my brother's labor at a pretty low cost, and really was a great way, because I had to, responsible of having to do that work or having to make sure it got done and make sure the customer's happy, and was able to kind of continue to get more and more lawns. And it was a great job growing up. Yeah, my mom tells some stories about, I loved selling when I was a kid. I don't know how old I was at the time, but she would say my aunt had to sell cookies or something for one of the softball teams she was involved in. And so, I just begged to be able to go door to door in our neighborhood and sell them. And my mom knew all the parents that I would go knock on the doors and try and sell it. And one time I went and my sister was selling some, for her first grade or whatever, and I wasn't in grade school yet. But I went and knocked on this lady's door. Of course, I don't remember. My mom tells the story, and I, told everything. We're selling these candy bars or cookies or whatever it was for grade school fundraiser or whatever. And she said, okay, I'd like to buy some. And I said, well, I'm not taking any orders now, but I know next year, when I'm in first grade, I'll be selling these. So I just wanted to go ahead and talk to you about them now. So when I come back, you'll know all about it. So that's a story she'd laugh about. But I don't know why. I just thought that was so fun to be able to go door to door and try and sell whatever it was. I remember when I was in college, one of the years, I don't remember which one, but my fraternity had a dad's weekend. So everybody's dad would come up. And I actually remember the booth I was sitting in at the bar when he and I had a kind of one-on-one conversation. And he's like talking to me, kind of asking me if I would join the business when I graduated. And, it was a really small business, maybe 10 people or so. And he was good at taking a small group of people and going and doing a project. And it was irrigation supply company at the time. And they would sell irrigation, or we would go install it on golf courses. And I wasn't interested in coming in and kind of milking a family business. I was like, I had to see the ability to grow it. And I had to see that he was willing to allow me to change it, revolutionize it, or modernize it in some ways and scale it in some ways, or I really wasn't interested. And he kind of convinced me that, hey, it had a lot of potential and that he would let me kind of use my entrepreneur spirit or sales spirit to change some things around. I think one of the biggest decisions, or probably the biggest decision you make in life, is who your partner is, who you marry. And I think I nailed it on that. And I have a great wife that was incredibly supportive. I worked a lot of hours in my 20s and 30s and 40s too, probably is. But and she was incredibly supportive of that. And I think she saw the drive, maybe the fear of failure that I had, and had to kind of anxious about it, had to get to the office, had to get things right, and had to make sure everything's going well, and very involved in the details of the business. And we've raised a family that I'm proud of, a son and a daughter that share the same values that Dana and I have. Back in the early days, I saw a group of people that had a lot of grit, and my dad, probably one of them. He had a very small team, but he cared about those people and he gave them opportunity. And I saw how much he cared about each and every one of them. And that's something we, in our culture at ISCO, I try and know everybody as much as I can about them. At one time I knew a lot, and their families and all that. As we've grown to over 700 people, that's kind of hard to do now, but I try and do that as much as I can because take a lot of interest in them. And David Novak, a friend of mine, said, no one will care about you unless they know you care about them. And I was like, I want them to care about the company and want to create a good team environment. And I need them to know that I do care about them. So we kind of came up with a mantra of really putting our people first. A lot of people would say, oh, customers are number one. And I'm like, with us, it's going to be our people, because that's going to be able to serve the customers better. If we have the right people, the best people in the industry, we'll be able to serve the customer the best, and we'll be able to innovate and create new things. And so that's going to benefit the customer. And then third is the shareholders. I saw too many companies, and at the time I had friends going to work for larger companies, and just kind of getting out of school and doing that. And it was always like, you read the mission statements, it was always about shareholder value and how do we create shareholder value. Maybe have mergers that create synergies to create shareholder value. And I'm like, we're going to put that third. I'm the shareholder, we're the shareholders, but it's people, it's customers, and then it's shareholders. And you know what? If you do 1 and 2 well, number 3 takes care of itself. If you try and put number 3 first, it seems like you don't have as good of an outcome because the people don't feel as appreciated. And for some reason, I don't know what we've done right over the years, we've been able to attract really good people and keep them. And that's the number one key to our success at ISCO. We've had massive growth over the years, created a lot of opportunities, and we start our mission statement, which is to create long-term opportunities for members of the ISCO team by adding value to our products, proactively executing our vision. We needed to have a vision, developing mutually successful relationships with our customers, and remaining innovative, providing innovative solutions to our customers. So that's kind of the theme that we came up with, the mission we came up with, and we put long-term opportunities first. And we realized, how can we do that? The only way to create opportunities for people is through growth. if somebody came to work at ISCO and we're not going to grow, it's very difficult for us to give them opportunities for them to advance or succeed and excel in a business that's flat. They would have to wait for somebody to retire or leave the company and so forth. So I'm like, if we can create a growing company, we can recruit the type of people we want because they know there's opportunity. And we've had fantastic growth over the years. And I look back, and the thing I'm most proud of is I see people come in at a very young age working here, and what we've been able to do is give them opportunity, and they're still here. We have very low turnover in our staff once they've been here a while, and we realize that they meet our culture and our values. They tend to stay a long time, and that's because we're giving them opportunity. And we always say to them, if you're successful at ISCO, it's not because of anything we did. All we did was give you a chance and give you opportunity. If you're successful, it's because of what you did with that opportunity. And my brother and I realized at a very young age, we were given an opportunity by our father. We were able to come in and buy a business that was stable. It had a lot of things already set for it. And it was a great opportunity. And we wanted to provide that same kind of opportunity in some ways to other people that joined our company. Businesses don't do enough celebrating. When you have success, it's always like, okay, what's the next hurdle, the next hurdle? And that's good, but you have to celebrate successes. Life's short, and I enjoy that. It's my favorite times is to celebrate successes that people at ISCO have had, or our team has had. And I do that a lot through awards, and we have a recognition culture at ISCO. We have, if you walk around the office, several awards that you see plaques with names on them. And I always show, like, I have a lot of blank names ahead of, I'm like, we're a long-term thinking company. We're going to be giving this award out, 20 years from now and so forth. So, and a big thing is to update them immediately. As soon as you give that award, one of my pet peeves is when you walk into a place and they have, whatever award, employee of the month or whatever, and it hadn't been updated in a while. And I'm like, all of our people know that needs to be updated immediately, or let's take it down because it's not important to us. But the recognition culture is fun and it's huge, and we have, from Rookie of the Year, we have an award we call the Starfish Flinger, somebody that's doing a lot of things when the spotlight's not on them, they're constantly making a difference. We have a Whatever It Takes award. We have a Salesperson award doesn't just go to the salesperson that sells the most, it goes to the salesperson who most resembles the ISCO mission and core values. And a technician for our fusion techs that because they're the face of our company with our customers a lot of times. And we have the ISCO Hall of Fame, which actually we're sitting in the Hall of Fame room right now. And that's what I'm most proud of. I started that, in probably 2017, 2018, and we bring people back. They had to have left ISCO, retired from ISCO basically, and we bring them back and celebrate the success they've had, if they've had a big impact really on the company and helped shape the company, and had a great career here and impacted others and was a mentor to others and so forth. So we bring them back and honor them. And it's probably my favorite night of the year. When we do that every year, we'll have a class of 1 or 2 or 3. And as we continue to grow and have more people retiring from the company, I think we'll have bigger classes. But this is the Hall of Fame room, and we put the pictures on the wall and celebrate them. And it's a lot of fun, and I think people really enjoy it. To see the emotion they have. People only have one career at a time, right? And then it's a big decision for them to decide where they spend their time. And the really good people have a lot of options. So I don't take it lightly that they choose ISCO for their career. A lot of them support a family or whatever their goals or mission in their personal life is. They choose ISCO, and it's fun to kind of bring them back and celebrate. There's been some emotional times when we bring them back and they see how the company has grown because of the impact they've made. One thing that's important when you're looking at bringing people onto your team is their horizons have to match. We're a long-term thinking company, and we beat a lot of other companies. Nowadays, people think short-term. They think about quarterly earnings. They'll make poor decisions, in my opinion, poor long-term decisions to make the short-term look good. And we've never done that. We said we were long-term thinking. We've been fortunate to be able to be in the financial position and we've had success to not have to do that. There's times when we've made that mistake and we've learned from it, but overall, we're long-term thinking people and owners. And for anyone to have success at ISCO, they have to have that same time horizon. They have to be long-term thinkers. Well, one of the things my father did at a young age for both my brother and myself is he put a golf club in our hand. There's a picture of me in the paper with him, newspaper at age 2.5, and him teaching me how to play golf. And it had a major impact on my life. And that's why I'm passionate about giving back and creating opportunities for kids that can't learn that game or don't have a parent or grandparent to teach them that. My son played it a lot and plays competitively, and I noticed that a lot of the people that play it had parents or grandparents that played it. So the kids that don't have that aren't really getting exposed to that. So I'm pretty passionate about how can we get kids to exposed to that, and because I think the game of golf teaches a lot of life lessons. I think the game of golf has taught me that you've never really arrived. No matter how you look at even the great players, they're always trying to get better. So you never really get there and say, hey, I've made it, because there's always that thing you can do better. ISCO's had a lot of success, and I'm proud of that, but there's a lot more we can do to fulfill our mission. And I think that's the great thing that one of the game of golf has taught me. I think it's very important for our state to support entrepreneurs. You look at a lot of the great companies that are here were birthed here from, every large number was once a small number that was growing quickly. Every large company was once a small company with a high growth rate. So as we can find those new ones, help birth them here in this area, they're going to end up, hopefully, some of them will, as they have success, they're going to create jobs, create opportunity. Those people that work there will have their families here. The really good communities that I see have a lot of corporate headquarters, and we need to start at the very beginning in entrepreneurship to help those companies be successful here. I don't want to hear somebody saying, I can't start my company in Louisville, there's not enough, talent, capital, whatever. That would really frustrate me. So I'm committed to seeing entrepreneurship here. I think we've done a lot of that at ISCO. We've created that spirit here. I think companies, can start as we grow. We have a lot of needs and services and things that we do that it's fun to see entrepreneurial companies come in and provide those services to our company. And one thing I tell a lot of young people is, a lot of people will say, I want to do what I love. And a lot of people tell them, do what you love, the money will come. I don't believe in that. I say, do what you're good at. I tell them all, find out what you're really good at, and guess what? You're going to love it, because you're going to show up and you're going to be the smartest in the room at that, or whatever it is. You're going to be the best at it, and follow that. It's okay to fail. And one thing that drove me a lot was fear of failure, and I get very anxious about it, and maybe a little too serious about it and too down. That resiliency is a key to business, and I've seen people be successful and look back and say that person had resiliency. They got knocked down and they were able to get back up. And it took me a while to really, I think, understand the importance of that.